Well, everybody, welcome to the Tris Brina Show. I'll be the Tris.
And I'm the Brina, and in this episode, we're going to have a chat about why traditional stretching doesn't provide lasting relief from those joint aches, pains, and stiffness, and what you can do about it. I mean, have you ever noticed that, like, you do a little stretch or something, and oh, sometimes it feels so good in the moment. but then the stiffness, it comes back too soon. And why is that? And it's because traditional stretching oftentimes doesn't address some of the root causes of blocked energy.
That's right.
Blocked energy, and also sticky, stuck fascia.
Adhesions.
And very important, the role the brain is playing in creating that situation in your body. And that's why we created the QiJoint Fusion Solution, which is the only method that combines all three of these circular movements that have some rocking with different positions of gravity. And what putting your body in these simple to do different positions of gravity, just like standing, sitting, leaning on a chair, laying in bed, is it allows the chi to flow in different ways and takes the stress off of some of your body parts that don't have to support you. That normally you can't have the chi flowing when that muscle is active with the brain-body connection. Getting rid of the block that is causing the body to keep producing the pain and stiffness in that area.
True that. Well, welcome, y'all. Thank you for being here. We're excited about this show because this is something we're highly passionate about. We've both been athletes for decades, and we both experienced lots of physical pain. And I've been knocked out of the game for close to 5 years with pain, losing my identity, losing my martial arts students in school, really just struggling through pain. And it put us on a path of healing this body. We worked together on how did we do that? What were the components that were needed to heal not only the physical body, but the energy body? That's why we talk a lot about chi. And we've got something we put together. It's the QiJoint Fusion Solution. We teach it at a 2-day deep dive event called Restore Ageless Mobility. I wanted to give you the link just in case you had to cut out early. Jot that down, storymethod.com/RAM.
So this is a 2-day virtual live event, and the people who are attending, they get forever access to the replays of the 2 days, where during the workshop, we're going to work on the QiJoint Fusion Solution, but we're also going to create 6 daily routines that we edit out that you have forever access to. So these are going to be routines that allow you to put your body in different positions, like I said before, standing, sitting in a chair, leaning on a chair for support, laying in bed face up, something to do before your feet even hit the floor in the morning, and then a few other routines that you can do on the floor. Absolutely phenomenal. We've never done it before. People are like, when are you going to do this again? Never. We've never done it before. This is the release. It's live. A lot of people can't attend live. It's September 20 and 21st, and that's okay, because within 24 hours, you'll get the unedited replays before we pull the routines out. So it's a win-win. The earlier you register, the lower the registration fee. Right now, there's an early bird special, so you want to check that out.
So here's what we have for you today. We're going to break down this fusion. That's sort of our approach as we look at what's the best of the best and aggregate together what works. So stretching, we're not like poo-pooing stretching completely. Stretching is very helpful, but it doesn't always get to the root, as Sabrina said. And why do we feel stiff the next day? Why does stretching sometimes make us tighter? So what we've discovered and uncovered is that your body is coated with this connective tissue known as fascia underneath your skin. Your whole body's fascia. Fascia can get dehydrated. Fascia can get really tight. It can be knotted up. It can create adhesions, and within the fascia, the energy pathways, the blood, the fluids don't flow as well. Things can get really crazy and painful. So we discovered that when you're doing certain types of movements, like a stretch, but you add a circular movement to that stretch, it starts to massage the tissue. It unwinds the tension out of the tissue. And so the circles and the rocking motions, not only do they help break up the adhesions, but they help bring fresh blood, fresh chi, because blood carries chi. Chi, life force, is what we're talking about. And the circular movements also help your body to produce something known as synovial fluid. So synovial fluid acts inside the joints.
Joint juice.
Like, WC-40. It's a juice that is a lubricant, and it prevents the bones from wearing on each other, and it creates more fluid mobility. So the circular movements, there's more to it than that. They unwind the tension, they get the energy flowing, they stimulate the synovial production. I want to mention a few things in addition to that. These rotations, as you're doing them, you're actually doing them really slowly. Why? Because you want to pay attention to where your reactive patterns are. What is a reactive pattern?
Well, a reactive pattern, I can make like a metaphor. Do you know that person that you know if you say that thing in that way, they're going to just like go crazy? And there's that term like, don't poke the bear, right? Because that person is very reactive to that issue. Well, I kind of can translate that over to muscles and joints. Don't poke the bear, that inflamed part, that hurts, because it's going to be reactive. So how can you approach that with this beautiful coaching craftsmanship that sort of brushes up against it, make sure that person feels safe and comfortable, and that you can help calm them down? And it's the same way with your body. You can actually treat your body like a person, and instead of attacking it, you work with it. You work with it. There's a conversation with it. And by slowly unwinding, it feels safe. See, a lot of times I know when I stretch certain ways, my hamstrings, they're just like, immediately. So, but when I work with this QiJoint Fusion Solution, it's like, okay, there's a softness to it, and it's gentle, but it's so much more effective than that harsh way.
You know, you see people in the gym doing this, and they're trying to stretch this tissue in the back here, or you're trying to stretch like that, right? Those are more static, linear stretches, and so what we're talking about is movements that are circular. Movements that unwind that tension from the tissue, but slowly. We'll talk about the breathing in a moment. And we've got so many movements for your neck, for your shoulder sockets, for your ribs,
elbows,
all around your thoracic mid-spine, your hips, your knees, your ankles, your lower lumbar, your thoracic spine. There are movements that are done, and we're going to teach you all of them. Sabrina was mentioning they can be done sitting in a chair, holding onto a chair for different leverage.
Yeah.
They can be done standing. We're going to do series lying down.
Yeah.
A morning bed routine.
And this is not like one routine and you can modify it in all these ways. These are different routines. So sometimes a chair can be used when someone can't stand, and that's great. But a chair can also be used to use gravity in a different way. You can also lean on a chair for balance and leverage, not because you can't stand without it, but because with the chair, you're able to do things you can't do without it. So that's why this is such a unique program for us, because it's the only program that we've ever created that really incorporates the in bed, sitting, standing, leaning on a chair. And it's so that you can get into all of those places and all of those joints. I think it's addictive. There are certain movements. There's one routine called morning melt that it's like, I'm not getting out of bed until I do those movements.
Sabrina
because it's going to change my whole day.
The next thing, so we were talking about the principles. We want you guys to really get it and understand it so that you're inspired to try this. So, of course, you've got to learn the circular movements for each joint so you know what to do and when to do it and how to do it. So just a quick review on the rotations, okay? This is one aspect of three. The first one, the circular and sometimes rocking movements, they unwind the tension. So they're massaging the joint and freeing the fascia, okay? It breaks up adhesions. We talked about adhesions and knots that get stuck in the tissue.
This morning I was doing one of the movements. I didn't even mention this to you. And I woke up, I share the pillow with our 20-pound puppy, and sometimes he hogs it, and I woke up with a lot of neck stiffness. And I was doing one of these movements, and I heard my neck adjust. Like I would have driven across town to see a chiropractor, just went, I was like,
that's because the fascia, so when the fascia is tight, it compresses the joint. And so when it frees and it loosens, the joint sometimes will adjust, and it'll go back into alignment.
It was like 35 seconds.
Let me see, where was I? So I was talking about the unwinding and the massaging of the tissue, which is going to bring fresh blood. So movement creates circulation. Blood carries life force energy. Blood carries the chi. We are big components of life force, breath, and energy work. So we teach the movements with chi principles. So you're going to be using your mind to visualize the energy as well, getting into all the little tight spots, the nooks and the crannies. The second part about this rotational approach is that not only do you break up the adhesions, which can be from old injuries, lack of movement, scar tissue, things like that, being very dehydrated. We're going to be drinking a lot of water. But the other thing is the synovial fluid. So we're just recapping. That's a fluid that your body produces that helps work as a lubricant for the joints. We're also going to be getting out waste products. So sometimes in your tissues, when there hasn't been good blood flow, waste products can build up. Lactic acid, things like that from just over time. And the movement gets those waste products out. Also in the joints, sometimes if there hasn't been movement for a while, they can calcify. And so you can break up that calcium deposits and clear the debris. So that's the first aspect.
And like Tristan said, like maybe it's been a while since you felt like you could move a joint. That doesn't mean you can't restore the mobility. We have so many students and ourselves who you would think, oh gosh, that shoulder, it hasn't moved in like 2 years. That doesn't mean it can't. Yes, it can, and we've seen it happen so many times. So there is this restoring. So some people like to come to the program because they've lost so much mobility and they're trying to get it back. Other people are like, I have decent mobility, I want even more, or I don't want to lose what I have.
The next component is resistance, but not like weightlifting. It's more about the positions you put your body in, and gravity pulls the weight of your body, causing resistance on the tissue in chosen positions that actually amplify the flow of the blood and the chi through those areas. So it's different stretching standing with gravity resistance in this direction versus lying down, face up, lying down, face down. Also, sitting in a chair changes the gravitational pull on the lumbar spine, as well as does standing and holding a chair and doing movement. So we use these different positions, gravity, friendly gravity positions. What does it do? Well, the first thing it does is it gives you more access into the joint spaces. So you actually can get into the tissue in new ways because of the certain positions. If you think about yoga and they hold certain poses, certain stretches, they're called asanas. The design of yoga by the yogis was to create the perfect positions, asanas, for the life force to flow better through the body. And now their goal was to increase consciousness. So their training was through the physical body, you could enlighten yourself. So we want to give you a lot of variety of positions to help open the channels for the energy to flow. Okay, so let me just hit a couple more things. It amplifies the flow of the energy, and the postures, you have to use your stabilizer muscles in different positions. And when you use those stabilizer muscles, it actually helps protect the joints because you're training some of the muscle to hold and stabilize while you're doing the exercises.
Well, I just wanted to give an example. Like I had a very severe knee injury, and so my knee now doesn't have cartilage, and it's being diagnosed as sloppy, meaning the top of the leg and the bottom of the leg, they don't fit together in a very secure way.
You can see the movement.
Yeah.
When the doctor works.
So from a standing position, my knee is holding the weight of everything above it. So it's more difficult for me to work that joint in a pain-free way. But if I sit or if I lay back on my bed and I get the weight off that joint, I'm able to move it in ways that I can't when I'm standing. And I think that's one of the beauties of using gravity in different ways. Even just think about when you're sitting in a chair, how that takes the load off of your hips, off of everything, and then the movement can actually be more specific to the part of the body that you want. Your legs. How can you freely work a leg that's in pain sometimes that you're also standing on it? So sitting or laying down or even leaning on a chair where it takes part of your weight lets me pain-free work that joint that I want to
even get
to
to
work.
it.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's certain stretches you'll see people doing on the ground, which can be hard to get on the ground for some people, and therefore you can't get to those areas that are tight. But we'll show you how you can do them on your couch, on the side of your bed. There's different methods and modifications that you can still get to those parts of your body that need the circulation. They need the fresh blood and the fresh chi. And without that, use it or lose it, they say. If you don't use that joint, it will deteriorate and calcium and waste products build up. So we've got to get the movement going. So those principles are the gravity points and the spine. We're going to talk a lot about your posture while you're stretching because the energy flows between the brain and the body through the spine.
Yeah.
And we want clean, clear signals so that we can get rid of what's known as maladaptive signals that cause the body to guard and protect, which leads us to our third component that we call repatterning. So this is the big breakthrough. Yes, the breathing. Yes, the circles. Yes, the gravity. But if the brain and the body aren't friends again, they're always colliding. They're called maladaptive signals. When those maladaptive signals get really off, it causes the body to shut down. And that leads to something known as sensory motor amnesia. Your brain loses the ability to actually communicate with certain parts of your body. And when that happens, you're getting no energy there. In fact, I was working with our friend JP. JP, if you're watching, you know this happened to him. And I was showing him one of the moves we're going to be doing where we were holding a chair and I was having him move his torso.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it. All that was moving was his hip.
Yeah.
He had lost the ability to actually find it.
I was just going to say, so many of the clients that I've worked with, when I tell them, it's not that your body can't do this. Your body is completely capable of doing this, but your brain doesn't know how to ask your body to do this.
Sensory motor amnesia.
Yeah, and the thing is, once you remember, once your brain, you just like teaching a child how to an alphabet or how to make a vowel, what it sounds like, then they know. I feel like it's like that. It's like, oh, remember, this is how you do this. And then the body could do it, but it wasn't able to because it wasn't getting the information. Just like a computer, how is it going to give you an output if you don't put in an input, right? Unless you put something in Google to search, you're not going to get the search back. So that repatterning and also realizing that what you're inputting is actually not what you want back. It's not a match. It's a match to your current level.
Well, think of like if you took a piece of paper, like let's say I took this.
Here's a piece of paper.
I've got one. This is our Chi journey. Let's say you took this to, the copy store and you put it down on the machine and you close the lid. Remember the Xerox? It's going to take an exact duplicate of this and spit it out. Well, that's what your brain is doing. It has a blueprint. It has a pattern. We want to repattern. It's spitting out the same pattern all the time. So unless you change the blueprint, you're not going to get out of pain. You're going to keep looping the pain. So we have to teach you with the movements, with the slow mindfulness, with visual demonstration, and one other secret sauce. It's your breath. What? The sound of your breath can actually change your brain state from going into those tightening, guarding mechanisms. And you actually have to find them first. And as soon as you find them, you'll see your face will kind of grimace. You'll notice your breathing will get shallow or it'll actually stop. And this is wonderful because we've just found a reactive pattern. As soon as we find it, we'll make special sounds that stimulate your auditory system. Those sounds feed information in through the auditory system into your brain, a part of your brain known as the amygdala, which is the fight and flight center, which is the guarding, protecting mechanism that has over time slowly gotten set in a new way. It's calibrated to stay in guarding, and we've got to turn that thing off.
And it's a complicated theory, but it's simple to execute when you stack it.
Yeah.
You'll get results in the day that you try it. And then they'll just get better and better. And of course, you need to do it for a few weeks so that you get results that last.
And here's why that breathing with the other two things makes this QiJoint Fusion Solution
Circles, the
work.
gravity, and
This. Because as you're doing the circle, here's what's cool about this. We just uncovered these things over years and rebuilding our bodies. When you start going up against where you normally get tight, react, and the shallow breathing, you don't push through it. A lot of people say, push through that pain, stretch through that tissue. If you do that, you cause the brain to guard even more. So you brush up against it slowly, mindfully, with the long spine and the sound that tells the brain it's safe. And you do it repeatedly until you get the brain and the body to become friends again. You recalibrate the brain-body communication signal, and here's what happens. The brain doesn't guard, the tissue opens, and on the next circle, you can go a little further. And on the next circle, you can go a little further. That's brain. The body, now that you can go a little further, can get rid of a little bit more of the tightness in the tissue. It can bring a little bit more fresh blood and qi deeper into the joint complexes. So you can see how this fusion is all layered together. It can create ageless mobility.
And one other just crazy fact that we don't have time to dive into in this episode is that I know one woman that's attending the Restore Ageless Mobility workshop said, you know, I have an injury and I can't lift one of my arms. So do you know that studies show that working the opposite side of your body, the same movement that you need to have healing in the other side of your body, from 10% to 50% better. So we're also going to talk about how the brain is working. And if you do have an injury on one side, we may want, for you, if you can't use that body part, we'll focus on the other side in order to get the results.
It's the brain.
Yeah.
Retrain the brain. Often the pain is living in the brain.
Well, tell them about that mirror of the guy who lost his
We'll
arm.
land the plane with this. So this was Dr., I believe his name was Dr. Ramanachara. You can look him up, neuroscientist. And there was a patient who had lost an arm or a part of his arm. I believe it was in
the military,
in the military, in war. Whatever it was, he had what's known as phantom limb pain. So even though this arm was missing, he still felt pain in his hand.
And he felt like he had a tight fist clenching and he couldn't relax it.
And the signals from the brain were going, and he said, but I've got no arm, how is this possible? And the doctor realized that it was a loop, a maladaptive loop in the brain. So he was so clever, he built a mirrored box with a mirror. And he had him put the other arm that had no pain into the box. And it mirrored this arm, just like mirror neurons, so that when the man looked through this window, he saw two hands. Now, the doctor had him focus only on what he was seeing, which is really this hand, but he thought, oh my God, I have a hand again. And he had him wiggling these fingers.
And opening the fist.
So that this man saw this in the area that had been tight for so long. And he repatterned the brain and the pain went away. That's such an important lesson on pain is in the brain. And so in our bodies, whether we have a phantom situation or not, we're creating phantom pain that doesn't need to be there. So we can release it. I hope this landed for you and that you've got some insights. So this is the Qi Fusion Solution. It is being offered during the 2-day live immersion event. Go to that link right now.
Restore Ageless Mobility. That's what RAM stands for. It's on the 20th and the 21st. It's 5 hours each day with an hour for lunch in the middle of the day. I'd say at least half the people probably register and then they enjoy the replays because they can't attend live. And then from those 2 days, we pull out and edit 6 daily routines that you'll have to choose from, that you'll have access to forever. Standing, sitting, leaning on a chair, face up in bed, some tummy time, all these different ways, depending on your pain, your inflammation, and how you're looking to get more mobile.
So go check it out. There's a huge discount right now. So
Early
you
bird.
can get a lot of money off. And thanks for joining us on the Trish Serena Show. Our goal is to always inspire you, give you great information that helps you to heal your body, to awaken the energy that lives within, and raise your consciousness so that you can have a joyful, happy, amazing life and help lots of people out there. Much love. We'll see you in the next show. Until then.